do, and all I want is the truth. When my mind has nothing more to say, and the words become a blur, there's a little pulse inside that won't let my spirit hide. There's something I know, like a forgotten dream, and it's there for me to believe. I believe in you, I believe in me, I believe in love. I believe in you, I believe in me, I believe in love, and I believe in what's to come. When I start putting me down, my body cringes at the sound, and I forget what is real, and I berate all I've built. But there's a little pulse inside that won't let my spirit hide. There's something I know, like a forgotten dream, and it's there for me to believe. I believe in you, I believe in me, I believe in love. I believe in you, I believe in me, I believe in love, and I believe in what's to come. Ooh, I'm not scared anymore, I'm not looking back again. The time is now, and I believe. There are thoughts that help me live more than I thought I could, and there are words that cheapen my darkest mood. Which one would you choose? No more picking the ones that lose. There's something I need, and it's as simple as a word, and it's there for me to believe. I believe in you, I believe in me, I believe in love. I believe in you, I believe in me, I believe in love, and I believe in what's to come. I believe.
We have a very special treat this morning, a brand new addition to our roster of musicians, Rebecca Abraxas. Not only is she an awesome musician, as you just heard, but she's also an advanced certified sound therapist. She's a Holy Fire Reiki master, a certified life coach, a certified yoga teacher, and a trained priestess in the ceremonial arts. So we are delighted and honored that you're here. And you haven't had this treat for a long time. There are CDs in the back if you would like to you have to buy them, but they're available after the service if you would like to have them. So that's awesome. So whether you're here with us, and we are excited about that this morning, or whether you are watching us beginning on Wednesday night, usually when this church happens for the online part of our congregation, we're delighted that you're here. And you know that we are unapologetically inclusive here. That means you No matter who you are, no matter what you're about, you are welcome at Unity on the Avenue, and we are delighted. And today is the second Sunday of Advent, and it is the fourth night of Hanukkah. Oops. In the Christian tradition, the 4 weeks preceding Christmas are referred to as the Advent. Advent literally means the coming. Today is the second Sunday of Advent. In many traditions, this dark time of winter is celebrated by the symbol of light. Lighting candles reminds us that we are the light of the world, and that our light will contribute to eliminating the darkness. In the ancient Druid tradition, there were fires lighted to celebrate the power of light. In the Jewish tradition, the festival of Hanukkah is known as the Festival of Light. In the Christian tradition, the light symbolizes the story of the birth of Jesus, which symbolizes the possibility for the Christ Spirit, the energy that we all carry within us, to be born anew, to become alive for us again. In the African American tradition, the celebration of Kwanzaa also incorporates the lighting of candles. We use this time of Advent and the symbols of the Christmas season to keep this ongoing possibility alive for us. The second candle on the Hanukkah wreath represents peace and is often symbolized by an angel. An angel is considered to be a messenger from God, and so are all Christ-like thoughts messengers from God. It is our God thoughts that guide us and lead us to an awareness of our own indwelling Christ. Just as the shepherds were led to Jesus from the angel's words, the angel's message was, peace on earth, goodwill to all people. The angel's, excuse me. The angel's words guided the shepherds. The angel's words guided the shepherds to the place where they could find an experience with God. We too respond to our God thoughts. We are at peace and goodwill in all circumstance are a part of our lives. So this morning we light the second candle for peace. Like the shepherds, we are on a journey to the quiet of the stable, to the quiet of inner peace, where we can each get in touch with our own experience of God. Our candle today is for peace. When we open ourselves to more of God's light, we are opening ourselves to creating more peace inside of ourselves. Hanukkah is the 8-day festival of light. It celebrates the triumph of light over darkness, purity over materiality. Lighting the menorah is the essential observance of Hanukkah. Hanukkah was a minor Jewish holiday until Christmas became such a big deal in the 20th century. It used to just happen when they were at home. They lit the candles in remembrance, but it has become a bigger holiday so that there is something to celebrate for the Jewish children. So Hanukkah came into being more than 21 centuries ago. Israel was ruled by the Greeks, who sought to Hellenize the people of Israel and take away their religion. Against all odds, a small band of faithful Jews defeated one of the mightiest armies on earth. They drove the Greeks from the land. They reclaimed the temple in Jerusalem and rededicated it. When they sought to light the temple's menorah, they found only a single cruse of oil that had escaped contamination. Miraculously, the one-day supply burned for 8 days until the new oil could be prepared under the conditions of ritual purity. Hanukkah candles are lit to commemorate the miracle of the Maccabees' victory and the miracle of the oil that burnt for 8 days in the temple. I'm not supposed to use that candle. So this candle is the shamus, and it is used to light the other candles. The candles burn until they burn out. The prayer that goes with the lighting of the candles. Pardon? Do you know it in Jewish and Hebrew? Great, say it. Now I'll say it in English for those of you who don't understand Hebrew. Praised are you, praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has made us holy by mitzvot and instructed us to light the Hanukkah candles. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has given us life, sustained us, and helped us reach this day. The lights we kindle illuminate our sense of what every person can become, and through that memory, a spiritual awareness of all that God does for us, starting with who you are as divine beings, facets of the living God. Our chaplain for today is Opal. And you see people holding sacred space around the room. These people are also prayer chaplains, and they would be delighted to pray with you about whatever's on your heart, concerns or celebrations. So, our statement of faith. Together, there is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God, the good, omnipotent.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the brush of angels' wings. I can see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Surely the presence of God is definitely in this place. As the spirit of Christmas is amongst us, we find peace and love in the silence. Prayer and meditation time seems to strengthen us in ways never imagined when we step away from the busyness and focus on the spiritual. Despite any outer conditions, you can turn inward to find peace and calm. Even in the darkness of night, for at times it may feel that it's the darkest in your life, but the light of the Lord is always present. The light of the Lord is always with you. And as you prepare for these holidays, know that the Spirit of the Christ light shines in and out and through you. And we send this Spirit out to the world to bless and uplift everyone. And so it is, and so we are. Amen.
When I think of you, lately I see something new. All the things I didn't see are finding their way back to me. Like the fog that blocks the sea, when it lifts there's so much beauty. I see you, I see your heart. I see you, I see your light. I see you and all the parts I refuse with such a fight. I see you. When I think of all I said, all the hurt when I was in the red, all the things that scarred you, I wish I could undo. Like the flower that blooms in the spring, you open your heart again and again. I see you, I see your heart. I see you, I see your light. I see you and all the parts I refuse with such a fight. I see you. Like the fog that blocks the sea, when it lifts there's so much beauty. I see you, I see your heart. I see you, I see your light. I see you and all the parts I refuse with such a fight. I see you.
Lovely. That's what we have to offer here. We see you. So this is the second part of Hypatia Hasbrook's trip to Bethlehem. So Hypatia Hasbrook was ordained in 1971, which was a while ago. She used to be the dean of Unity School. She was actually born in 1921. So that's the era in which this book about the metaphysical interpretation of Christmas was written. So part of what we talked about last week was that the Bible wasn't just recorded by writers writing down, quote, what happened. The names in the Bible were deliberately chosen for what they mean metaphysically. The stories each represent a metaphysical concept that they wanted to teach spiritually. So when we get hung up on, is the Bible literally true, we're really not getting the point of even what the writers of the Bible meant 2,000 years ago. So that's one of the distinctions of what unity teaches, is that we interpret the Bible metaphysically. So the example I gave you last time is the number 12. Does anybody remember how many times 12 is mentioned in the Bible? Oh, I knew you were taking notes. A whole bunch. 187 times. So do you think it was just coincidental that all these people had 12 children? All these things happened. It was chosen because of what the number actually represents. And that's true of every number that's used in the Bible. Remember, 40 means as long as it takes. What took 40? Well, Noah's flood, 40 days and 40 nights. The trip out of Egypt, 40 years. Jesus in the wilderness, 40 days. So it takes as long as it takes. And when you understand that about Bible stories, it makes a huge difference in how you look at them. If you spent time in English classes when you were in high school and you did some allegorical interpretation, my love is like a red, red rose, it's just the same thing. It's what does this actually, what was intended that it should mean when you started. So it makes a huge difference. And each of the 12 days of Christmas is represented by Unity's 12 powers, which is what Unity talks about. 12 powers, to remind you, is simply our innate gifts. You came with them. Now, you may be actualizing this gift. It may be latent. You may have an opportunity to develop more fully what the 12 powers are in you. So to give you the first 6 very briefly before we go to the second 6, which we're talking about today, the first part of the Bethlehem story is about Herod. It's set during the closing reigns of Herod the Great, and he is a bad actor. Part of what you get to learn from that is that it doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter what your life was like. You still have this power. And Harold, I'm determined to call him Harold today, or Herod, represents release. All we do is choose to release our past. Now, when I say all we do, that's not easy. You can spend the rest of your life releasing your past, but that's the first thing, and it doesn't matter, quote, how ugly your past is. Stage 2 is the setting. So the star, the wise men, and the east. So this takes place before the narrative begins, and it represents wisdom. And they bring that wisdom with them. Remember, they had to start out 2 years before it happened, and then they show up on the 12th day of Christmas. Stage 3, Gabriel, Zechariah, John, and Elizabeth. Those characters are about setting the stage for John the Baptist. So Zechariah is the father of John the Baptist. Elizabeth is the mother. They were in their 70s, and Elizabeth got pregnant. Now, do you think that was literal, or do you think there might have been a metaphysical meaning to that? That all things are possible. It represents understanding, and John the Baptist is who prepares the way for Jesus, central to the whole story in the New Testament. Stage 4, the story takes place in Nazareth. We're told you go down to Nazareth, you go down into this dark place. Mary and Gabriel are central. So when Elizabeth is 6 months pregnant, Gabriel appears to her and her kinswoman Mary, who lives in Nazareth, who's just betrothed to Joseph, not married, engaged. And Gabriel tells Mary that she's going to conceive a son to be named Jesus, who will be given the throne of David, rule over the house of Jacob forever. Mary protests. She's not married. Gabriel explains the Holy Spirit will cause the miracle. Then he tells her about Elizabeth, proving to her, look, miraculous things happen. Okay? And stage 4 is about imagination. Stage 5, Mary and Elizabeth spend time together prior to the birth of John the Baptist. And when the women meet, Elizabeth's unborn child begins to kick. And Elizabeth realizes that Mary is to bear a holy child and that John will be the way shower for Jesus. And that's faith. You kind of have to take that one on faith. Stage 6, Joseph and Gabriel. Joseph's the next major player. Gabriel also appears. Angels are always messengers from God. Gabriel appears to Joseph and tells him that Mary's pregnant and it's okay because she hasn't been with anybody, but that he should wait to consume the marriage until after the baby is born. And the power for that is will. Joseph chooses to believe and chooses to marry Mary and chooses to be Jesus' father. So that's what we talked about last week. Now, stage 7. You remember when you go through the Christmas story that the reason that Mary and Joseph are going to Nazareth is because there's a census. So they're going to Nazareth so they can be counted because Joseph is of the house of David, which is important. Now, even though technically Joseph is not Jesus' father, it's important to prove the projection from the Hebrew Bible that the Messiah will come from the lineage of David. So see, this is all orchestrated, intentional for creating the meaning of the story. So Mary is close to the end of her pregnancy. She's required to ride an ass and to make the trip with Joseph to be counted to Bethlehem, the city of David. The inn is filled, so the innkeeper has them and their ass stay in the stable, which is a cave, where he keeps his oxen. They are barely settled when Jesus is born. Mary wraps him in swaddling clothes and lays him in the manger. And the power that is represented is strength. If you've ever had a baby, and you thought about the idea of riding an ass, a donkey, miles into Bethlehem, you know that requires a lot of strength. So the mental faculty of strength is active to enable us to persist in our spiritual purpose. Despite material inconvenience, despite distraction, strength also gives us patience and endurance and spiritual stamina. It holds us firmly on course so that we can achieve our goal. So each of the different parts of that part of the story, we can talk about the metaphysical meaning of Bethlehem and going down to Bethlehem in Nazareth, which was not the good part of town. The fact that the inn doesn't accept anyone, it's full. Cave, ass, ox, swaddling clothes, mangers, all of those have symbolic meanings. And Apatia tells you all of those if you're interested. But if I told you all of them, we would not get off of stage 7. Stage 8, the night it happens, the light that appears over the stable, the shepherds, the flocks, and lambs. That night, in the midst of a great light, Gabriel appears to the shepherd, watching their flock in a nearby field. He calms their fears by announcing the birth of the Christ, a gift from God to them and all people. He tells them where to find the child, and a heavenly choir joins him. The shepherds hurry to Bethlehem, enter the cave. After telling Mary and Joseph what the angel said and giving their gift of a lamb, they return to the field rejoicing. So the great light, the glory of God, symbolizes that Spirit is always present. So whether you're out in the field with the shepherds, whether you're in a stable, Spirit is always present. And love is the power that is represented by this stage of the journey. The virtues and guardians are all expressions of love as a principle of oneness, which produce harmony within us and in our relationships. The gift of the Christ is for the shepherds and everyone else, so the gift is evidence of divine love, which is always present. And remember, divine love doesn't have anything to do with the kind of, I'm going to call it Barbie doll love, that we have in our social media a lot today. So all of these things are part of the underlying story of the Christmas story that we listen to every year. And so on Christmas Eve, when we do the story in a beautiful way, you can remember that it's not about the literal story. It's about the underlying meaning of the story and the beauty and the poetry of the Christmas story as we read it. So the next part is the naming, the house, Jerusalem, temple, Simon, and Anna. That's stage 9 in the story, and it's about order. On the 8th day, the day of circumcision, and remember 8 has a meaning, Joseph names the child Jesus. He moves the family to a house in Bethlehem. After waiting the required 2 months, they go to the temple in Jerusalem to perform the required purification rites, to sacrifice a pair of turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to dedicate Jesus. Simon, who's an old man, follows them from the temple door and is inspired by Spirit. He takes the child in his arms and blesses him. Anna, the 84-year-old prophetess who was always in the temple, joins Mary, Joseph, and Simon. So that's following the order of Jewish ritual. A wonderful time to remind you that Jesus was not a Christian. Jesus was a Jew and observant of all the rituals in the Jewish tradition. Stage 10, the wise men from the east show up. They're clear at the end. The wise men from the east, Jerusalem, Herod, and the gifts. Pray for my tongue. No, all right. The family returns to the house in Bethlehem. Soon after they get there, the 3 magi from the east ride camels into Jerusalem, believing the star is leading them to the newborn King of the Jews. So they go to the seat of government to ask where he is. Herod, thank you, Herod feels threatened when he hears about the wise men's quest. He asks the priests and scribe where the unexpected king was to be born. Now notice that the wise men in the palace know the answer to this question. One would wonder how they knew that, since Jesus was born in a stable and was not terribly important in the social order of things. So they tell the priests and scribes that they say it's in Bethlehem. Herod summons the wise men, finds out when they first saw the star, sends them to Bethlehem telling them to return to tell him where to find the child so that he may pay his respects. The star leads the Magi to the house of Joseph. They enter, bow to worship the child, give their gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. That night they are warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, so they go by another route. And we know that in this story, Herod orders the deaths of all 2-year-old children, because this happens after the fact. And this is about power, having power be authentic spiritual power rather than the power exercised by a king. Stage 11, the flight to Egypt and the massacre of the innocents. The same night the wise men receive their warning, Gabriel appears to Joseph in a dream to tell him to take the mother and child to Egypt because Herod plans to kill the child. Immediately Joseph arises, puts Mary and Jesus on the ass, and the family starts for Egypt. The enraged Herod, not knowing exactly where to find the child, orders the massacre of all male children 2 years and younger. This is the power that's represented by enthusiasm or zeal. Intuitively, the intellectual nature realizes that the Christ, the energy we all possess, must be protected from the destructive activity of the egocentric ego. Gabriel's command to take the mother and child to Egypt and Joseph's obedience. In the attempt to obliterate all thought of a higher self, the egocentric ego destroys every new thought about spiritual substance. So the children in and around Egypt, but the true higher self has been safely hidden. It went to Egypt. Stage 12, life. The death of Herod and the return to Nazareth. A year or so after the massacre, Herod dies. So when that happens, then Gabriel appears to Joseph and Mary again to tell him it's now safe to return to Israel. However, when Joseph realizes that Herod's son now rules in Jerusalem, he does not go back to Bethlehem, but takes them to Nazareth instead. Stage 12 is about life. The higher self has survived is evidence of the activity of the mental faculty of life. When the egocentric ego is no longer the center of consciousness because of the death of Herod, the Christ can safely activate spiritual thoughts, Gabriel's message to return to Israel. But since peace of mind is the ruling condition, then they can again go home and exert spiritual power. Joseph protects the developing Christ by surrounding it with simple or unsophisticated spiritual thoughts of an apparently ordinary consciousness, and the Israelite inherits Nazareth. Ha! Phew. It's a lot of information, and I don't know how to tell you any other way than the way I just told you. And if you're interested in this kind of thing, I recommend buying the book. I think it's $10 on Amazon. But again, the important thought is to recognize how and why the Bible was written, to get over part of our allergy to the fact that the Bible is used by other people in different ways. When we understand the real meaning, we can enjoy the stories, listen to them for what they have to teach us. We learned from essential spirituality that we can do the same thing with all the different world religions. There's lessons to be learned from all of them when we can open ourselves to whatever that message might be. So the stages of the Christmas story is about our own journey to transformation. The journey to transformation takes our whole life. Remember, we talked about in terms of the slinky, and there's slinkies back there if you didn't get one. So, have you noticed that certain events keep coming around and around and around in your life? Shows up again and again and again. And we can be like a slinky and be all scrunched together, or we can have moved on our spiritual journey so that we approach that from a different point of view. And the 12 powers that Unity teaches, the 12 faculties, innate parts of all of us that we came born with, is what we can use to change the story of our life. At some point in time, we can begin to say, what's this lesson trying to teach me? Why do I have this again and again and again and again? And you're the only one that can figure out that lesson. And you can just be, quote, cranky about it. Look, this happened to me again, and deal with it from a victim consciousness. Or you can ask the question, what can I learn from this? What's possible? How can I approach this differently? And how can I choose what faculty, what power would help? Do I need love? Do I need to embrace life? Do I need strength? Do I need enthusiasm? And then we can choose to apply that so that the next time it comes, and the universe is so good, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. But the next time, you aren't going to be in the same place. You have a different set of tools than you used last time so that you can do it in a different way. And I told you last week that I discovered, because I was resistant to the 12 powers, I taught them for years, but not with any great enthusiasm of my own. But a couple of weeks ago, when I got it in the middle of the night, that high blood pressure did not define me and I needed to choose life, the answer to the high blood pressure came, and it's better now. I choose life. When life is a pain in the butt, and I'm guessing that your lives are occasionally a pain in the butt, just as my life is occasionally a pain in the butt, I choose life. When I'm crankier than a wet hen, I choose love. When I don't know if I can get out of bed one more time, I choose strength and power. And every time I choose, I'm using the power of my will. You can choose joy. A friend of mine who's a minister and I were talking, and she was talking about the fact that she's been low this holiday season. No real reason for it. She just has felt not on top of it. And we talked about the fact that we can choose joy. We're the ones that have the power to choose. And nobody can tell you which power you need to choose today, tomorrow, Wednesday night at 4 o'clock in the morning when you wake up. But you have the power to choose. And if nothing else, my repeating in my head, I choose life, I choose life, put me to sleep. So it's a good sedative, if nothing else, if you're awake in the middle of the night. And choosing to hear the Christmas story that you'll hear many times throughout these coming weeks, choosing to listen to the Bible in a new way is part of what we each have an opportunity to do. So I simply invite you to take a deep breath with me, to relax into your chair, to simply pause. And within the confines of your own mind, you know what pesky thing hovers on the edge of your consciousness. Pausing to notice which of your 12 powers, which of your faculties, your innate gifts that you were born with, could turn that particular problem around. You don't need to tell anybody else. You don't need to talk about it. And you know what it is because it's always there on the edge of your thoughts. Whether it's thoughts of, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not handsome enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not young enough. Just notice. And we know that's not true. We know that everyone in this room is a divine being. That your essence is whole and perfect in every way. And whatever challenges the world has given you that has caused you to develop that inner critic, know with me that it's not true. You are whole, perfect, wise, strong, powerful, filled with love, filled with joy. The truth of your being. Pausing with that knowledge. Choosing which power would begin to shift that belief for you. Choosing in this moment, using your power of will, setting an intention that as of this moment, it will be different for you. The power of transformation is yours. We are grateful for the power that we control, the power that is innately ours. We are grateful for that divine gift that came with us when we were the gifted Christ child in our own story. So we are grateful now and always. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. We are one now, we are one now, we are one now, we are one now.
So, this is the time when we share our gifts. Many of us are consistent givers. It just comes out every week. And the other thing we want you to know about the gifts that you give to us, we share them with Unity Worldwide. We share them with our Unity region, South Central. And we share them with different not-for-profits in our community that we support both with financial gifts and with our time. This particular month for December, we are sharing with Rocky Mountain Refuge. This organization provides a stable housing environment for people with terminal illness who don't have homes so that they don't die on the street under a bush. So that's part of how we share the gifts that you share with us. We're also checking to see, the board and I sent out a year-end giving letter. Last year, you might remember that we were part of Colorado Gives, and it got confusing between giving here and giving there. So we did not really benefit from being part of that organization. So we just sent you a year-end giving letter. There's one in the back if you didn't get one, so that you might remember to take advantage of your tax status and make a year-end gift to Unity on the Avenue. So I invite you to join with us in our offertory affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
There are times I walk the walk. Sometimes it's only the words I talk. Inside of me is a ball of fire. Ooh, 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 ooh. Feels just like a devil's choir. Watching myself in disbelief. What can I say to my soul's thief? Lessen the noise, give me a choice. Change my mind, change the hand. my spirit is nude. I say goodbye to my mood. Ooh, 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 ooh. What will love do? What will love do? What will love do? What will love do? Could it lessen the noise, give me a choice, change my mind, change the hand of time? What would love do? There's a space that waits for us, patient while we clear the rust. We are here to love, love, love. What will love do? What will love do? What will love do? What will love do? Could it lessen the noise, give me a choice, change my mind, make me more kind? What would love do?
Thank you, Rebecca. It's lovely to have you. Look forward to seeing you again. And remember, you can take her music home with you if you choose by buying some CDs in the back. There's price lists back there. So I invite, our children came up, but all right, they're going to come and we're going to bless them. All right. Yeah, that's it. Turn around and face everybody, and we're all going to rub our hands together and create some energy, and then we are going to bless you. Children, you are loved, special, and important. We see you and bless the divine being that you are. Yay! You're awesome. We're glad you're here. And now our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. See you downstairs for lunch. Thanks for being here.